At the edge of Siberia's vast emptiness, where daylight fades like a dying flame, and the air itself feels heavy with silence, there lies a place few humans will ever know. The thermometer reads 65 grados bajo cero at this temperature. Metal shatters like glass. The breath of every living thing freezes midair, falling as crystals to the snow-covered ground. This is Yakutia, the coldest inhabited region on Earth. A land suspended between life and ice, where people do not fight the cold, they live with it. For the next 24 hours, we follow one man, Sergey, a reindeer herder from the tundra plains. His village lies deep in the wilderness, cut off by snowdrifts taller than houses. Here, even a short journey becomes a test of endurance and a simple task, a matter of survival. It is 6:40 a.m. though. The sun has yet to rise. In the darkness, Sergey steps out of his wooden cabin. The door creaks frozen solid overnight, and a gust of air cuts through his fur coat like knives. Frost covers his beard and eyelashes instantly. Even his breath makes a soft crackling sound. Inside the cabin, a small iron stove still glows red. A kettle hums faintly, its lid trembling with steam, the only sound breaking the morning silence. Outside, the world is motionless. The trees groan under thick layers of hoarfrost. Even the dogs, husky mixes with thick silver coats, stand quietly, their noses buried in their tails. Sergey begins his morning routine. He chops blocks of frozen horse meat for the dogs, each strike echoing like a gunshot across the valley. The meat is as hard as stone. He uses an axe, not a knife. When the first light finally appears, it's not sunlight, but a pale, blue glow on the horizon. In Yakutia, mornings are slow and silent, as if the world itself hesitates to wake. The forecast says a storm is coming. In Yakutia, a storm is not just wind and snow, it's a wall of white that can erase everything in its path. Sergey knows he must reach his herd before it hits. He readies his snowmobile, a Soviet Baran. Its engine sputters reluctantly, the oil thick as honey from the cold. He wraps canvas around his hands, because gloves alone are not enough. Before leaving, Sergey's wife, Anya, steps outside. Her cheeks are red from the cold. She hands him a small metal flask, hot tea, and says only one word in Yakut. Take care of yourself. Then he sets off. The snowmobile cuts across the frozen landscape, leaving a faint trail through endless white. The engine's hum is swallowed by the wind. Around him, no trees, no tracks, no sound. Only an ocean of snow beneath a gray, heavy sky. Every few kilometers, Sergey stops. He listens. At this temperature, machines die without warning. A single breakdown could mean death. The land of ice, by noon, the temperature has dropped further, minus 67 degrees Celsius, with wind chill. The tundra seems to stretch forever. Even the horizon shimmers like a mirage, the air so cold it bends the light. Sergey spots the herd at last, a cluster of dark shapes, moving slowly in the distance. Reindeer, their thick coats dusted with frost, their antlers rimmed with ice. He parks the snowmobile and approaches quietly. The animals lift their heads, steam rising from their nostrils like smoke from chimneys. These creatures are his lifeline, for milk, for meat, for clothing, for the sleds that connect distant villages. He checks the youngest calves first, running gloved hands over their fur to feel for warmth. Then he scatters salt blocks and hay he carried on a sled from home. Each movement is deliberate, slow. In the Arctic, rushing means mistakes, and mistakes cost lives. Above, the sky begins to fade again. Daylight lasts only a few hours. Soon, the horizon darkens into violet and steel blue, and the first winds of the storm begin to whisper. The storm, it begins quietly, a low hum across the open tundra. Then, within minutes, the wind roars. Snow spirals upward like smoke. The world turns white. The storm is here. Sergey pulls his fur hood tight and kneels beside the sled. He ties down his gear ropes. Hey, fuel cans! As gusts slam against him with invisible force. The reindeer press together, forming a tight circle, their bodies shielding each other from the cold. This ancient instinct has saved them for centuries. Visibility drops to 0. He can no longer see the herd's edges. The storm howls like a living thing, an ancient voice of the Arctic, angry and unrelenting. He knows he cannot return home now. To move through a blizzard is suicide, so he digs a trench beside his sled. Using a snow shovel with numb wooden fingers, he builds a small snow shelter, a hollow dome that traps his body heat. It's a technique passed down by his grandfather, part Yakut, part Yuenki nomad. Inside the shelter, he lights a small stove. The blue flame flickers weakly, its warmth barely reaching his hands. Outside, the storm screams for hours. Time dissolves. There is no night or day, only white noise. The long night by evening, the wind begins to soften. Sergey crawls from his shelter into the frozen silence. The landscape has changed completely. The snow dunes reshaped, the horizon erased. It is as if the world has been reborn overnight. He checks the herd. Most have survived, but one calf lies still, half buried in snow. He kneels beside it for a moment, removing his glove to brush frost from its fur. Then he covers the small body with snow, a quiet gesture of respect in a land that offers no mercy. In Yakutia, death is neither cruel nor strange. It is part of the rhythm, the balance between life and the cold. He mounts his sled and begins the long return home. The air is still and clear now, the stars sharp as blades in the frozen sky. Above him, the aurora borealis begins to move, a curtain of green light shimmering across the darkness. It dances silently, a gift from the heavens to those who endure below. The temperature is now -66°C. The snow crunches like broken glass under the sled's runners. His eyelashes are frozen shut. He opens them by hand. Each breath crystallizes instantly, falling like tiny diamonds in the moonlight. Return to the village after 12 hours of travel and storm. A faint orange glow appears in the distance, the first sign of his village. The houses are buried halfway in snow, their chimneys releasing thin ribbons of smoke. The smell of burning wood drifts faintly through the air. Dogs bark as he approaches, their voices echoing through the stillness. Sergey's wife meets him at the gate. Her face shows both relief and exhaustion. He unloads the sled, hay, meat, tools, and together they lead the reindeer into the enclosure. Inside, warmth returns slowly. His coat steams beside the stove. The frost melts from his beard, dripping onto the floorboards. He pours tea from the same metal flask she gave him that morning. It's still warm. A small miracle in a world of ice. Reflection. As midnight approaches, the village sleeps. The storm has passed, leaving behind the calm so complete it feels sacred. The moon reflects off the frozen river, casting silver light over the rooftops. Somewhere in the distance, wolves howl, their voices ancient and haunting. Sergey sits by the window, watching the sky. He has survived another day, another 24 hours in the coldest place on Earth. To live here is not an act of courage or madness. It is simply life measured not in years, but in endurance. Each morning brings new frost, each night another chance to rest and begin again. In this frozen world, time slows. Every breath is earned. Every moment, sacred. Outro in Yakutia, the cold is not the enemy. It is a teacher. It teaches patience, humility, and respect. For nature, for silence, for survival itself. Those who live here do not dream of escape. They dream of endurance, of fire that never goes out, of family waiting by the stove. Tomorrow, the temperature will fall again. The rivers will freeze deeper. The wind will rise. And life will continue as it always has. Because here, in the world's coldest land, survival is not an act of defiance. It is a way of life.